Sorry about that. Welcome to Social Media Fridays. Each week we meet to wind down and talk about what happened in the world of social media in the previous 7 days. Sorry that we don't have any vision at the moment. Meher, could you mute your microphone for me? Thank you very much. Okay, so each week, during the week, we take items of interest and post them on the Social Media Fridays community. And once a week on Fridays, we sit down here and talk about them. First one was posted by Meher, so she'll have to unmute her microphone again. It's titled "Google Kills Authorship Reporting in Webmaster Tools," and Meher wants a comment, so I guess we better ask Meher for a comment as well. No? Okay. Well, look, I'll give a comment. Google Labs is an experimental part of Google Webmaster Tools, and items that are placed there may not necessarily see long-term provision. But in this case, I think it's really odd because the data that was being added to the Google authorship stats ceased on June 28, which I think is at the same time that Google stopped displaying images in search results or non-personal search results. So, I think Google made the statement that taking away the profile pictures would not affect the click-through ratio. I think that's a bullshit statement. And I imagine that the reason that the data isn't there anymore is so that it could be easily demonstrated to be a false statement. That's about all I have to say about it. Does anybody else have a comment?
Yeah, that's a good point, that data could contradict what the statement was. I also I thought for a while that providing that information was giving away a bit too much, because I was writing posts, or I write posts on forums, and I was actually getting authorship triggered by that, so I could see data from these websites which I have no official link to, so I'm kind of not surprised they got rid of it.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay, let's call that one done and dusted. Here was an exercise in how not to conduct social media. It was posted by Masataki Wasa, entitled "One Way to Ensure Good Reviews, Not." And this was a hotel, I think in New York, which advised its customers that there will be a $500 fine that will be deducted from your deposit for every negative review of USGH placed on any internet site by anyone in your party and or attending your wedding or event. I'd say that social media would have ended up with a bit of a furor over this. What happened, Masataki?
One of the consequences was that people resorted to posting negative reviews on review sites, even though they hadn't stayed at the establishment. So,
so if you haven't stayed, they've not got your details, so they can't find you. So.
Exactly, but people have heard about it. People heard about the $500 policy. So they all went in and decided to give 1-star reviews for this B&B
Mhm.
in a huge number. And of course, Yelp, I think, was the main sort of battleground for this, and they did remove many of the obviously fake reviews after a few days.
Yeah.
It's a very weird situation where you have people who shouldn't really be leaving reviews, writing reviews, and it's somewhat similar to the case a couple of months, I think, back, where there was a concerted effort to essentially bring down a restaurant's review rating, after someone who was wearing Google Glass got kicked out, and then there's a sort of campaign amongst Google Glass wearers to go ahead and type negative reviews for the restaurant. So it's been used. The reviews sites have now been used as a place to essentially, bring an establishment into line, as it were, with their wishes, with people's wishes.
Mm.
It's in a campaign mode, as it were, trying to change the policy or try to punish someone. And it's not right. I mean, and it's obviously a problem for the review site, because for the reviews to be credible, the reviewers to be credible, and the review sites to be credible, the reviews themselves have to be genuine, right? So the reviews have to be a first-hand experience. It has to be something that the person has seen, heard, felt, and experienced. It's like in court, hearsay is not admissible. It has to be the reviewer, him or herself, experiencing what he or she is writing, is reviewing. So it is, in a sense, very false and even malicious, because people are trying to damage the reputation of a company, of a restaurant or hotel or something like that, by using reviews for which they didn't really qualify to write. You can complain about this policy, which I think is counterproductive and ill thought out, on blogs. You can tweet about it. You can post about it on Google+, Facebook, etc. That's fine. If you hear something like this, you say, that's a bit silly, and you write a blog about it. That sounds absolutely fine to me. And then, but I think it's wrong to go to a review site and submit a fake review when you hadn't dined at a restaurant or you haven't stayed at a hotel.
Yeah, I wonder if these fake or misuse of reviews, I wouldn't say they're fake, it's because they're probably just saying how stupid the restaurant is. I wonder if that has a negative effect on the reviewer. That if they get that deleted, they've got a little thumbs down on the quality of their reviews, so their reviews become less influential. I think is it Yelp that do actually filter out a lot of reviews based on the reputation of the reviewer?
I don't know. I haven't really looked into review sites. A lot of them did get through, and there have been compilations of sort of the best ones that have been now deleted. So the usual suspect. Some of them were quite funny. I have to say, I did have a chuckle, but still, it is pretty. It's not a great thing if you are the business owner. I mean, it's terrible that you're facing an onslaught. You could say it's self-inflicted, sure, but at the same time, you don't. If you provided bad service, or you provided something that's less than stellar, and people are complaining, that people should have the right to complain and should have the right to make their displeasure known.
Yeah, paying for reviews is classed as wrong, and this is the opposite end of the spectrum, isn't it? It's charging for bad reviews. But it's the same sort of thing. It's a money exchange to alter what your reviews are like. So Google, I think, has that in their policy. So you could get your page pulled down, or yeah, they can't really pull down reviews that don't exist, though.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. How long do they keep on the deposit? It's not as though after you have your deposit returned,
Then you can do it. Yeah.
$500.
And is there a legal, because they've done it as a statement, as a policy? Does that actually make it a legal thing, or are they just inventing something that they can't enforce?
I mean, I don't think it's been. I haven't really looked into this deeply or meticulously, so I don't know. But I don't think it's been challenged at a court of law.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a weird policy. I mean, if it really had been the case, it is a very, I think, counterproductive way of doing things.
Could you do psychology on this, and as a business encourage people to complain on the idea that hopefully nobody will, but others will think that you're concerned about quality? So could that be a bit of a gamble?
I think that's difficult to maintain, because the intent of this policy sounds like prevention of negative reviews being posted.
Mm.
See, I think that with any of the review sites, when it comes to commenting in reviews on those particular sites, if you look at the pretty much stats, if you have 10 comments, 10 reviews from different people, majority of the reviews are from the people who are kind of marketing it, or are from a competitor, right? Or a typical fake user, just to show I've been visiting this place, kind of people, and a bit of marketing people who've been will spam every then and there. Most of the reviews are from these people. Instead of bringing up this policy, I think they should have simply worked up all the reviews should be basically approved in a manner that you should have an evidential proof that you visited this place. A billing would do, a receipt, at a hotel stay, that particular hotel stay, or a restaurant or bar. I think a receipt or a kind of billing should be, added in terms of when it comes to review. If I want to post a review, I get an option to scan or have a photograph clicked on my any of the phones and upload it along with my review, so that review can be authenticated. The problem with review sites is because most of the sites most of the sites are only for the promotional purpose.
I think there's an issue with that. Obviously, I think that that the mechanisms to ensure that any reviews are based on actual purchase or actual stay would make a lot of sense. Obviously, there are practical issues. How do you ensure that? You could have receipt, or you could have barcode, QR code being embedded on receipt or something like that. I think there are many ways of doing it, but I think there's a fundamental issue in that review site want reviews, because that is what attracts other people to come and look at the site. And if you
but then you were saying?
No, go ahead.
But then most of the people who actually goes to review sites already know that there's a percentage of people, there's a percentage of reviews which are completely useless. If you're a kind of avid user on reviews, and you want to go to a restaurant or pick any place that you want to go to, and you want to check out reviews, because you've been randomly going through reviews from various places, you already know this is an irrelevant review. This is a kind of review that is marked kind of spammed or from a fake user because of the user ID. You get to know basic a person who's been onto review sites, he gets the idea of the review, the kind of genuine, is it a kind of genuine review? But the overall purpose, I think, this policy is pretty much secure for a person who's having the store and would like to have authenticated reviews. Otherwise, simply just don't post. And I think having a ban on them, it's much better idea, or a penalty. I think it's a brilliant idea. For me, I think it's a brilliant idea. I kind of like it because if I want to check out any reviews on any place, I would like to have kind of authenticated or genuine reviews instead of having fake reviews. And review sites basically take all kind of reviews. It doesn't matter to them. It's basically showcasing, showcasing a place or a commercial area which has reviews on it. People can come and post the reviews on it. But how genuine are the reviews? They cannot control it. So either they should actually give a kind of panel to a kind of business owners as well to approve those reviews, but do not edit, do not delete.
I think that that's a minefield. I don't think that business owners should be able to challenge, respond, and reply to negative reviews, but I don't think reviews should require their approval. I think then that's. I think
not
that's
approval, not approval. See, I'm not saying they should actually be, they have to actually log on to their pen and check to approve the review. Not like that, but that review should be authenticated by the review site, not by the owner of the listing. That owner should only be given a limited set of detailings like who posted the review so that they can challenge the person. Secondly, if the review is pretty much genuine or not, there has to be some connection, there has to be some kind of linkage between the reviewer and the listing getting reviewed. There has to be a linkage, there has to be a connect that can authenticate that this is a genuine review.
But then, it's still, in such a system, is it still not possible that there is a negative review? The review site will ask the business owner, we've received this review on our site. It relates to a purchase or whatever dated this and this by someone called so and so. Is this genuine? And if your business owner reads that it's a horrible review, you might say, no.
Indian sites, Indian review sites, 80% of listings that are uploaded by people or uploaded by review sites or the reviews shared on those listing, which are not actually held by anyone, they don't even inform the owner for it. That's the worst part. How do you control it? You don't have any control over it.
No, I think
people just go everywhere and start posting.
From business owner's perspective, I think it comes down to how you respond to the situation. I don't think business owners can be, how could I put it, in a situation where they can be too proactive in that sense. You are going to be reactive in a lot of cases. You have to react to situations that arise from negative or harsh reviews.
I think they should simply add a policy in their own website.
And as I've said before, there is an incentive for review site to gain more reviews. In a sense that if you're competing amongst different review sites, you want your review site to have the most reviews. In a sense, it's credibility by numbers. If you have an aggregate score based on, let's say, 1,000 reviews versus other sites that may only have a dozen or two, which review site are people more likely to trust?
Obviously, with the one with more reviews.
So, in that sense, there's a barrier to being very strict on the part of the review site, because they don't want to antagonize people by flagging genuine reviews as fake, because people might say, the reviewer might say, well, this site has deleted my review. I'm not going to write any more reviews for this one. Instead, I'm going to write reviews for the other site. So review site wouldn't want to delete reviews that look genuine, even though they may be fake. And more generally, it's not in their interest to reduce the number of reviews or delete them. So it'd be interesting to know what threshold they have in terms of determining which reviews are fake, and therefore they remove those reviews. Because I suspect that's pretty high. If they're egregious, if they are so obviously fake, then of course they're going to remove it, because, again, going back to the point that I made earlier, the site's credibility depends on the reviews being genuine or seem to be genuine. But at the same time, you want to have as many genuine or genuine-looking reviews as possible.
Yeah, I think Yelp does this compromise where they have, I guess, supplemental reviews where they have the most trusted reviews come up the top, and then I think you need to click on a link which is non-indexed to see further reviews which they trust less. So that seems like a good compromise. That they're filtering out when they have plenty of reviews. They're getting rid of the weaker ones.
Yeah, Google has that top reviewers thing as well on local Google Plus pages.
Oh, I better try for that.
I think
I didn't win anything. All right, will we move on to the next?
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This one was posted by Maher, and it's a set of Twitter tools. By the way, if you're following along at home, you can see these items posted in the Social Media Fridays community on Google+.
I remember discussing Twitter tools last week. All the tools are pretty much effective.
Yeah, we did talk about it, didn't we?
Yes, we did, in detail.
Okay, I may have made an error in loading them up. All right, let's pass that one. Sorry
Don't forget to watch the last Social Media Fridays for this post.
Okay. All right. Next was posted on. Well, I can't see where it was posted. I'm not having a good day, am I? But it was 8 social media tools. Did anybody get a chance to look at this article? Because I have to confess that I did not.
I'll tell you in a sec.
Checking out.
Just away for one moment, if someone can cover for me.
Well, we could be just silent for the next few minutes.
You can listen to the birds in this garden.
Ah, that'd be nice.
I don't think I had a chance to look at these. They actually look quite interesting. None I'm that familiar with.
Pretty much new tools, right? New, and from the oldest, I think these are pretty much new. Few of them, I think, serve the same purpose. Like Publish is one of the Sharest, and Publish is one of those tools that gives you a platform that you can share your single content to different platforms in one go, and at the same time you can, you know, check out other features. But I think they also have pretty much other tools also available. You have a research tab in Publish. I wonder what it does for you. I'm going to check out.
Right. The ones
One of the
the background, which could be interesting. To quickly cut people out of a picture and stick them somewhere else.
This is one of the another tools, ShareGraph, the very first. I think it pretty much gives you reviews and more of content from your competitors' page. It might give you an option to add. Most of these do not have active links.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing. I think in social media, people don't talk about competitor research that much. It's something you do in SEO a lot. That could be an interesting new angle to go into, of seeing what your competitors are up to and finding out what's good and what's worth repeating.
I've been looking at those items. They mainly seem to be focused on Facebook. There was one for WordPress, and there was a social media listening tool. But it's a pricey item at $200 a month. Would you guys invest that much money for a social media listening tool?
Not for me.
Sounds steep.
You get paid to do that.
But if you're doing it every day, if it's your daily job, that sort of prices are might be reasonable. It's if it saves you an hour every day, $200 is good.
Pretty much for large-scale companies, or branding companies, or publishers, this works well, I think.
Microsoft have released a social media listening platform as part of Dynamics CRM, a customer relationship management.
I remember reading that in Gates' blog. Where it's still, it had time to come out. Has it come out?
Yes, it's currently provisioning now. It has a failing in that it doesn't troll Google Plus, because of course Google won't allow anybody to crawl Google Plus. But it certainly looks like a good tool for evaluating sentiment on something like Twitter. It's basically a set of tools which analyze the posts. You choose what the tool is going to monitor, and it analyzes all posts based on that keyword, and also decides the sentiment by the post that's been made, and presents it back in a nice little interface with lots of graphs and things that sparkle. I really like it. although the one that we're using is still provisioning at the moment. I can only use the test bench tool, but to see how it works. I'm going to try and see if I can figure out a way to get it to the panelists on WCO questions.
What price bracket is that CRM on that?
Look, I haven't got final pricing, but I'll find out for you, Tony. But I'll find out for you. But it might be that WCO questions can supply it for you.
Pretty much all the tools available on this list are freebies and paid tools.
I've tried before you buy type thing, limited.
Try the freebie part first.
It just goes, there's just so many tools out there, and I keep trying different tools, and either discarding them because they have nothing new, or I keep them in a list because they have something unique. But it's still an evolving industry. Everybody's trying it out.
DriftRock is the Facebook ad performance tool. If you log into Facebook and you check on your home tab, there is this ad very actively running in Slightly CRM. It gives you pretty much the same things. Are we talking? Is this the Bill Gates thing? No, I don't think so. Is it? In Slightly CRM? No, it's not.
Has he got CRM?
In Slightly CRM.
All right. Will we say that this one is covered?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Our next item, news number 5 on our run list, is posted by Christian, who was kind enough to join us last week, and I was hoping he'd be back this week. It was just a post publicising a hangout by our good friends Eric Enger and Mark Trepagan, and our very good friend David Amaland on the Digital Marketing Answers show. I didn't get time to watch it, unfortunately. Did either of you guys, or you, Maher?
I didn't.
I'm afraid not.
Checking it out. No, but
We'll put it on the list.
Okay. All right. So then we'll move on to number 6 on our run list on social spam bots. And I'm glad to say that at least this is one article I did get time to read. I'm more interested in what you guys have to say about it. Was I the only one?
I'm the kid. No, I'm the kid who's been just educated on spam, not spam bots. I think Tony and Masadaki is the right people to have a comment on it.
I didn't have a chance. I'm just looking now.
Okay, well, look, I'll fill in while you're reading there, and you can come back with your take on it. But basically, this was a platform, I think in Italy, a social media platform, and they found that this spam bot, which was called Largella, I think, from memory, or something like that, Largello or something like that. All it would do would be to visit members of this social community, visit their profiles, and of course the social community reported visits, much like LinkedIn does. And it became the second most influential member of the community by doing nothing more than showing an interest in people. And of course, it was visiting every member of the community twice a month. And it shows, what a difference showing an interest does. It's no longer functional. They had to take it down after members of the community started to realise that it was a bot. They tried to engage with it, and it couldn't respond. But it's interesting. Isn't that what real life social is about? If somebody's interested in you, you are interested in them.
Yeah, and no, go ahead.
I was just to sum up, it was just basically crawling the social networks to get information, but in the process it triggered hits and visits, and the social networks were responding to that in boosting people's profiles or something. Is that kind of what it was doing?
Okay, so you know how on LinkedIn you get a notification that this person has looked at your profile, this person has?
Yeah.
It was doing that, and in return, people would then go to the bot's profile.
See where it was, yeah.
And that generated comments and references and some sort of like mechanism on the bot's profile. The highest scoring member on that community was an author, a published author, but the second highest scoring member was the bot.
Yeah, I think Jim's touched on an important thing, that if someone's shown an interest in you, you are interested in them. And that's especially the case if you just started, if you don't have particularly strong ties within that platform. So if you're only following a few people, you're being followed by a few others, for example, just saying. And then someone new comes up, and then it will state on your panel somewhere, so-and-so has been looking at your profile. Perhaps you check in it every other day, a couple of times a week. You'd be interested to know who this person is, who just seemingly and randomly came and visited your site, or visited your profile, sorry. Your interest would be piqued. You visit it, and then that, I suppose, snowballs. And if you're doing it at a huge scale, your success rate doesn't have to be particularly large either.
Yeah, and people do that naturally anyhow, but if you do it en masse, like I would imagine LinkedIn, there's people do that as a tactic to get noticed, is just to go around viewing profiles, and I wonder if there are tools out there that do it automatically for you, so you can do it en masse.
Yeah, I need to be up to the platforms to detect that kind of automatic spammy way of doing things and genuine users. And it's going to be interesting how you distinguish a bot that would try to imitate what humans do, and humans who may be behaving like a bot.
Yeah.
How do you distinguish those? In this case, I think if this platform had implemented something, it might have been quite clear. It's certainly hugely in the outlier zone, I'd have thought. But for something like LinkedIn, it'd be interesting to know if you are a spam bot and you narrowly zone, sort of narrowly zoom into, as it were, a particular sector. Then how would that be different from someone perhaps looking through all the different LinkedIn profiles in that particular sector?
So say you're a recruiter, instead of manually looking at these profiles, you have something automatically find people who match who you're trying to recruit, have it artificially make you look at their profiles so that they might approach you rather than you approach them.
Yeah, pretty much the same. You guys are seeing my screen share?
Yep.
Are you checking out what Masataki was saying? You recently, you recently visited people who viewed your profile. This is a kind of a complete chart that LinkedIn gives you.
I don't like them reporting who's viewed, so I actually deliberately don't look. So someone might ask to be in my network, and I'm very choosy who I put in my LinkedIn. So I won't even look at their profile if I don't think they're appropriate, because then they'll get that ping back that I've looked and then decided no.
Yeah, LinkedIn does give you an option where you can see similar people in your network. I mean, if somebody has visited your profile and they've also visited somebody else's profile, and which they happen to be the similar profession, it shows that as well.
Is that with the paid version, or I know they get a lot more power?
You're getting limited set of views. I mean, you can check out only 10 to 15 or 20 on free LinkedIn account. If you're a paid user with them, you have a different set of statics that you get. I think pretty much it. But with groups on LinkedIn, there is a different thing. As Jim said, on groups, people do not, get onto your profile until they see a comment from you, and your name pops up in there. The other thing is that if you're an active, on LinkedIn groups and you're commenting, you're replying, and you're posting, by default, the bot takes you to the right side tab, the active users tab, and it highlights your profile, and people can, see who's been who's been an active user on this group.
And I guess the same thing on other networks. They don't have who's looked at your profile, but if you follow someone, you can trigger them to maybe follow you back at that point, or like something they've done.
But basically, you only get to know that when somebody's following you or somebody has commented, unknown user has commented or liked any of your posts. You can only get to know then. But with LinkedIn, these stats are different. I mean, you get to know when people have just had a glimpse of your profile and moved on. Maybe they didn't like it, or maybe they didn't have the contact details, because LinkedIn has strict policies on connecting with people. So yes, I mean, it has a much better delivery of having kind of social, I think, bot. That would you say
Yeah.
social bot? It has a good mechanism on that. I mean, I personally like it because I get to know who's watching me, who's not, and if I find them interested, if I find them onto a similar industry, or if I think that I can work with them in some way, I would, connect back. It's a kind of good thing.
Hmm.
But with Facebook, Twitter, and other, Google Plus, you don't have this feature. That's a drawback.
Yeah.
I
What?
just don't like being watched.
Sorry.
You get views. You're being watched. You just don't know who's watching you.
No, I think what Tony alluded to, on Google Plus, what happened in the early days, and it still continues in some quarters, is the trick of circling people and then dumping them.
Oh yeah, just to keep, and you can keep pinging them. You've been circled.
Yeah.
You look them out. Yeah.
So, let's say you circle 1,000 people, and you may have a success rate of 10%. That'd be good, and then 100 people might follow you. Then you dump all these people, and then circle another 1,000 people.
That's Twitter's strategy. I mean, people do that on Twitter. They come, they follow you. They follow people on, pretty bulk note, and what they do is, if you're not following them back, they'll actually unfollow you.
Yeah, Twitter was interesting because when I first joined, I was followed by so many dodgy bot-like ones, basically trying me, basically linking to adult sites. So very scantily clad ladies as profile pictures, and meaningless gibberish, and then there's a link. So my first 15 followers on Twitter were essentially spam bots.
New accounts actually get
Just to be sure I heard right, you're saying that there were scantily clad ladies with giblets.
What? Giblets?
Jackie Masataki.
It's too early in the morning.
We didn't start about social proof, so you can be happy about that.
Ah, you didn't have to. Come on, that's mean.
That's a reminder every day. We're looking forward to, the term, having a definition.
Don't get me started. So yeah, I think that depending on platforms, I think the different ways that you can try to induce people to follow you or manufacture engagement. I mean, Twitter and Google Plus, I've certainly seen people adding you, circling you, following you. I think in the hope that you follow back, and then once you follow back, no one knows what's going to happen because they might be doing this, circle and dump or follow and unfollow kind of thing. And LinkedIn, it is you could actually go through many people's profiles and leaving your footprint, as it were, and people will follow back your footprint.
I think important on getting a good success rate is you do have to have an interesting profile in the first place. I've with some of my clients, I've semi-done that tactic. Well, not as a tactic, but I found peers in the industry and started circling them, following them. But I made sure the profile was set up and had a few posts first, because otherwise they'd look at you and go, they don't do anything. So I think you need to. A lot of these don't do that tactic, and they just have the done profile and automate the spamming of people, and so they don't actually get that a good response of people going, "I'll follow you back, I'll circle you." So, kind of getting a plan together is probably very important if you're going to do something like that.
Your footprints on LinkedIn can be followed. You can play around with Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus.
Is Jim away?
Maybe.
No, I'm here. I'm here. It's just that, I was talking with Dan, who's programming some stuff for WCO Questions panelist report. Sorry about that. I think we've covered everything today. Is there anything else that you guys would like to add into this week's episode? I'm going to take that as a no. Look, yeah, we still have viewers, and we thank you very much for watching us. It's your participation that makes what we do worthwhile to us. We'll be back same time next week to do it all over again. In the meantime, we'll go to Green Room now, and that's my favourite part of these shows. We'll we have a link. If you search on Google Plus for Social Media Friday 16, you'll see a link that will bring you directly into this hangout, and that we'd be more than happy to have you join us. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week.